has entered the race twice before, both attempts ending in accidents.
Ek is bang vir die race om eerlik te wees. Ek is bang om te ry eintlik. Ek gaan dit kalm vat en gaan nie worry om te wen of iets daar, net klaar maak.
Back among the four-wheelers, Toyota pair Coetzee and Leek led for a good portion of the event, but some problems would eventually retire their Toyota Hilux. Taking the lead were Derek and Tyrone Pinoy and the Borrow Jimco tandem. Despite being a former champion and recognized as one of the finest drivers in the country, Pinoy no longer races full-time. Putting in a surprise appearance among the front runners were newcomers Marius and Edith Bahrain in the ex-Bodo Berthold Top-Trans Orco. Quick and aggressive driver Roger Westermeyer shaped well in the Class 9 Eskimo refrigeration Orco until problems forced him to retire from the race. Despite starting 52nd, Richard Schilling and Ashley Thorne had moved up into the top 10 in the Motortech Raceco. Alpi Reinecker and Lucas Dreyer were going hell for leather in the Sasol Ford Courier and leading their class despite having had to substitute their racing engine for that of their service van just before the race. Still ruling Class 9 was Richard Obut Carolyn in the lubrication equipment Raceco. Behind him were Freiburg Cecil and Michael Fincham in the Toyota Land Cruiser lying second in Class 6. Harry Roscoe was second in Class 9 in the Protea playing card Raceco and determined to catch Carolyn. Still going like a train was Vickers van Dierpunter on the Suzuki Quad. Former Castrol Baberspan 500 winners Wilfred Westlow and Dagmar Blankner were performing consistently and leading Class 2 in their Volkswagen Fred van. Although Piet Putter and Tony Salvage had started late, they managed to ease the Autospares Mazda through the ranks to lead Class 3 ahead of the Van der Merwe team. Class 3 contenders Dani and Gerlo van der Merwe in the Toyota eventually got the better of Putter and Salvage to win Class 3. 1991 winners Van Vuren and Pelser were still leading Class 5 in their Sasol Toyota Hilux, with the second-placed Class 5 vehicle a long way behind them. Reliability is the name of the game as far as SVM team Cliff Barker and Mike Redden of the SA Jeep Club are concerned. They were lying third in Class 6 and looking good. A separate little battle was going on among the two-wheelers. Jeremy Davies had powered his Truck Africa KTM into the lead, his determination to win spurring him even faster. Rival Alfie Cox wasn't slouching either. Portfire Kawasaki going full tilt through the sodden countryside.
There's 15 seconds separating the first 5 bikes, so it's going to be a nice tight race out there, and luckily there's no dust. I think it's going to be good.
And determined to give Cox a run for his money was Patrick Andrews on the Lesotho Office Equipment Kawasaki, who'd left the start line second that morning. Despite a good start, Willie Ireland was to suffer power problems on the Super Tyres Suzuki after hitting a bank and bending the exhaust. No such hassles plagued Brian Bontekoe. The 200 rider was enjoying a smooth run on his Lesotho Office Equipment Kawasaki. Kevin Tibbett was having just as good a day on the Sun City Suzuki. Hi folks. Still maintaining a flat-out pace on the Team Green Kawasaki was Yanni de Bruyne. Anthony Taylor on the Vibro Brick Suzuki maintained a good pace which would ensure him a top 10 finish. Chris Dodd, John Hodgson and Alex Vowles Jr. were involved in a tremendous race and all three eventually finished this grueling event. Looking confident was Lesotho Office Equipment rider Graham McLachlan on his Kawasaki, followed by the quietly consistent privateer Keith Solomon, who managed to retain his 13th position from start to finish on the KTM. Having good fun on his 200 Kawasaki was Sun City rider Saki Niemann, who used to ride a larger machine.
I enjoy the ride. For the first time I really enjoy racing. It's a nice class and I can handle it. It's catered for me. I really enjoy this. It's an excellent bike to go on.
Bad luck for Chris Dodd. Changing muddy tyres is not the best part of off-road racing. Following the demise of Toyota's Coetzee and Leek, Pinoy Senior and Junior had advanced to a healthy lead, and barring the unexpected, nothing seemed likely to stop them from crossing that finish line first. What seems like momentary misjudgment is actually calculated terrain reading on the part of Richard Schilling and Ashley Thorne, who veer right to avoid the mud. At this stage, they were hot on the Pinoy's tail. Holding a healthy class lead were Reinecker and Dreyer in the Sasol Ford Courier, and right on their tails was Class 9 leader Richard Carolan in the lubrication equipment raceco. This was the unexpected off-road racers worry about. Running out of fuel some 10 kilometers from the end could very well have cost Derek and Tyrone Pinoy the race. Second-placed Schilling and Thorne could hardly believe their eyes when they came across the stationary and deserted vehicle. After ensuring there was nothing they could do for the stranded vehicle, they motored on. Although they would now take first place, they were aware that with the adjusted times, they might nevertheless still not be winners. All would depend on how far ahead of the rest of the field their Motortech Raceco was. Almost at the finish, and for the most of the competitors it wouldn't be a moment too soon. R.P. Reinecker and Lucas Dreyer had held their position and had good reason to be pleased with the performance of their Sasol Ford Courier. Ahead of them, the Motortech Raceco barreled along on the final stretch. Richard Schilling and Ashley Thorne had run a magnificent race. From 52nd position to first overall, despite not being actual winners, was a remarkable achievement, albeit at the cost of Pinoy's misfortune. It was also good proof indeed of how unpredictable this extraordinary sport can be. For those at the finish, confusion reigned until total times were hastily calculated, and it was established that although they had crossed the line first, they were not the winners, had to settle for fourth.
Today I passed 52 cars, got across the line first. There's a lot of hard work and there's mud and water. The route is difficult to read. It's very difficult to read. A lot of the rain has caused the markers to fade. But the car went beautifully. Ashley was a star, and I'm very happy to have got across the line first.
For the Pinoys, victory was sweet and long overdue.
We battled a bit with other route schedule, but we just kept going, and the car didn't miss a beat until, I don't know, about 10 k's out we ran out of petrol, and then Richard came past us, but we had a fantastic day. The car didn't miss a beat except when we ran out of petrol. Good to be here.
R.P. Reinecker and Lucas Dreyer's Sasol Ford Courier was home next, dicing to the finish with Class 9 winner Richard Carolan.
As gevolg van die nat toestand het ons bietjie gegly en ons het daar in 'n klip vasgegly en 'n papwiel gehad en ons het omtrent 10 minute gesukkel om die wiel aan en af te kry, nuwe wiel op te kry. En die sand het ons ook gesukkel. Die sand is nat geweest en ek weet nie, ek het gesukkel om deur die draai daar te kom, maar afgesien van alles voel ons het 'n goeie dag gehad.
Unlike previous years, 6 out of the top 10 vehicles home were space frames. For Jeremy Davies, that long-awaited victory would also be extremely sweet. Apart from the winner's laurels previously eluding him, there was a matter of family honor to uphold. Both older brothers had won the event in the past. Now Jeremy had as well. Spectators were equally delighted to see their hero coming home first, and Davies was given a hearty welcome.
Where's Baberspan? Nice guy. Shot Jeremy.
And I think at the second refuel, I fueled up and I couldn't start my bike, and I lost about 3 and a bit minutes to Alfie. And then I made up a minute and we just sat at 2. And eventually I got a few breaks here and there and I managed to reel him in. And from there on we were together the whole way. I just got a little break coming home here and pulled this enough gap to shake him. But the whole day we were together. It's like 5 years ago. It's a long time since we've had a long race like that and we've been so close.
Meanwhile, despite still going flat out on the Fortfire Kawasaki, Alfie Cox was experiencing excruciating agony with an injured toe and longing for the ride to be over.
Nice ride, Alf.
Not even 20 kilometers later, I must have come around a corner, there's an old tree stump sticking out. I think I got a broken toe. And I was going to go back to the marshal because I was too sore to ride. And then Jeremy came past me and I thought, no, let me see if I can just finish. And I caught him about just before the last refuel. And then while we were filling up, I lost a minute and I just couldn't bring it back again. But it's been a good race. It's sore, my foot's very sore.
A hard race with the top results justly deserved. Of the first 10 motorcycles home, 6 were Kawasaki's, 3 Suzuki's, with Jeremy Davies's KTM being the sole representative of its kind. The Castrol Baberspan 500, one of South Africa's classic off-road races, once again tested man and machinery to the limit in the Western Transvaal bushveld. Off-road racing at its best.